Hello children, how are you? I think you all are bored because of lockdown. Anyway, stay home students. Stay safe and stay healthy. Today we can start a new lesson in Democratic Politics, Chapter 2, Federalism. First of all, we can study what exactly is federalism. And for that, let us go back to the contrast between power sharing in Belgium and Sri Lanka you have studied earlier. Do you know the key changes made in the Constitution of Belgium in 1993? Yes, all of you know. It reduces the power of central government and gives this power to regional governments. Regional governments enjoys their own powers. All these changes took place in the year 1993. What was its result, you know? The Belgium shifted from unitary to federal form of government. We can study the difference between unitary and federal form of government later. Next, we can just discuss about Sri Lanka. You know that Sri Lanka continues for all practical purposes a unitary form of government. All powers rest with the national government. From that, you all understood that Sri Lanka follows a unitary form of government. Now we can move to the meaning of federalism. First of all, we can study the definition of federalism. Federalism is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and various constituent units of the country. You all know that in our country, a national government is there and state governments are there. Other than state government, we can see local government also. So we can conclude that India is a federal form of government. What is the definition of federalism? Once again I will repeat. It is a system of government in which the power is divided between a central authority and various constituent units of the country. Federations are contrasted with unitary governments. Now we can study the difference between unitary system and federal system. What is unitary system? Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government or the subunits are subordinate to the central government. We can take the example of China. You know that China, central government is taking all the decisions. There are provincial or state governments. But the central government controls all the activities and central government can pass orders to provincial or local governments. One more example is there, that is Cuba, then United Kingdom. All are examples of unitary form of government. Now we can move to federal system. What is one of the most important feature, you know? In a federal system, there are two or more than two levels of government. Central government cannot pass orders to the state government. The state government and central government both are separately answerable to the people. We can take the example of India. You know that in our country there are more than two levels of government. The central government cannot pass orders to state government. And state government and central government both are separately answerable to the people. Once again I will repeat. What is the difference between a unitary system and federal system? Under the unitary system, either there is only one level of government or subunits are subordinate to central government. The central government can pass orders to provincial or local governments. But in a federal system we can see more than two levels of government and central government cannot order the state government to do something. State government has powers of its own for which it is not answerable to central government. Both these governments are separately answerable to the people. Examples are India, Belgium. Next we can move to the key features of federalism. What are the key features of federalism? Very important question. What is the first feature of federalism? There are two or more levels of government. This is very easy for you to remember. There are two or more levels of government. What is the second feature? Different levels of government govern the same citizen, but each level has its own jurisdiction. Jurisdiction, a new word for you. What is the meaning of jurisdiction? The area over which someone has legal authority. You know that in our country, central government is there, state government also there. Central government has legal authority on the whole India, but state government, their geographical area that are clearly specified. You know that Kerala, the state government of Kerala can take decisions on matters relating to legislation, taxation, administration and all, but the area that are clearly specified in the constitution. What is the third feature? The jurisdiction of the respective level of government are specified in the constitution. Jurisdiction of the respective level of government are specified in the constitution. It is clearly mentioned that which all subjects the central government can take decision, which all subjects the state government can take decision, which all subjects the local government can take decision, that are clearly specified in the constitution. We will learn more about this in the next class. What is the next feature? The fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. If any change is required, then the consent of both the levels of government are necessary. If any of the provisions in the constitution, if the central government want to change, it is not possible. They need the consent of the state governments. Next point. Courts have the power to interpret the constitution and powers of different levels of government. Courts means the Supreme Court and the High Court. Both act as an umpire if dispute arise between different levels of government or any matters inside constitution. Sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. Sources of revenue means what? Taxes collected by government. Which all taxes the national government can collect, which all taxes the state government can collect, all are clearly specified in the constitution to ensure its financial autonomy. And the last and the most important one is the objective of federalism. What are the objectives of federalism? The first objective is to safeguard and promote the unity of the country and to accommodate regional diversity. There are dual objectives. First one, to safeguard and promote the unity of the country, and second one, to accommodate regional diversity. So once again I will repeat the points. What are the key features of federalism? First one, there are two or more levels of government. Second one, different tiers of government govern the same citizen, but each tier has its own jurisdiction. Third one, the jurisdiction of the respective levels of government are specified in the constitution. Fourth one, the fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of government. Fifth one, courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of different levels of government. Next one, the sources of revenue for each level of government are clearly specified to ensure financial autonomy, and the dual objectives of federal system are to safeguard and promote the unity of the country and to accommodate regional diversity. Do you know there are two types of federations? There are two types or two kinds of federations. One is coming together federation and another one is holding together federation. What are the features in coming together federation? Coming together federation, that involves independent states coming together on their own to form bigger unit. What is the first one? The coming together federation involves independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger union, and each and every independent state enjoys their own sovereignty and retaining identity. What are the examples of coming together federation? Examples are United States of America, Switzerland and Australia. All the constituent states usually have equal powers and all are strong in this federation. Once again, I will repeat coming together federation. Coming together federation involves independent states coming together on their own to form a bigger unit so that by pooling sovereignty and retaining identity, they can increase their security. Examples of coming together federation are United States of America, Switzerland, Australia. Second one is holding together federation, where a large country decides to divide its power between the constituent states and national government. You know that India is one of the best example. Why? We can see that here national government is there and state governments are there. In this holding together federation, the central government tends to be more powerful than states. Some of the states are enjoying unequal powers. The examples of holding together federation are India, Spain and Belgium. Once again, I will repeat holding together federation. Holding together federation is where a large country decides to divide its powers between the constituent states and the national government. In this category, the central government tends to be more powerful than states. Very often, some of the constituent states enjoys unequal powers. Examples of holding together federation are India, Spain and Belgium. Today we can conclude here. Next, I will give you some homework questions. 3 homework questions are there. Read that questions. First one, define federalism. Second one, what are the key features of federalism? Third one, distinguish between coming together and holding together federations. These 3 questions answers you can write with the help of textbook or with the help of these clippings. We can meet again tomorrow.